The President of the ANC, Cyril Ramaphosa, is addressing delegates at the eThekwini region. Let's listen in.
WC, and thereafter we have a meeting with the PEC as the NWC to assess the work of the African National Congress, the status of our branches, and the work that we are doing at government level. And thereafter, yes, the PEC has an opportunity to present its report to us, and after that we meet on our own as an NWC and make an assessment which we will then report to the NEC. So this moment that I've just gone through together with other members of the NWC has, in my view, been a very valuable moment, because it gives us an opportunity to feel the pulse of the organization as you listen also to the regional secretary presenting the report. And I must say that the report that the secretary presented is one of the better reports I have seen. Really, really good. It's a very thorough report, and I want to touch on some of the aspects of the report. Really well presented, and even in the questions or the comments that you made, I did not hear a single one of you denying this report, rubbishing it, and rejecting it. So all of you, to a man and a woman who spoke here, you accepted this report. And this is therefore a very, very good report. The report is comprehensive and has given a deep overview of the current state of the ANC in this region. It has also spoken to the structures and the political programs of the ANC within the eThekwini region. And it covers the three broad areas, which is very good: the organizational state of the ANC, the functionality of the regional executive committee, and the state of the local government, but also touched on the functionality of the branches. But we will get time to drill a little bit deeper into the actual lives of our branches. But from what I have seen, with all of you here being branch leaders, coming from branches, I get a sense that our branches here in eThekwini are alive. There is life, the ANC is here, and it is alive. And that is what is important to me as president, to members of the NWC as well, to see that we've got live branches here in eThekwini. And we were able to also demonstrate that there is political focus here, and also, more importantly, a commitment to the implementation of the ANC's policies and programs. And some of you correctly so, and I'll come to some of the comments that some of you made and questions. Correctly so, as dedicated ANC members, you have been saying the African National Congress leadership must implement the decisions of the ANC's conference. And there you are clear, and I applaud you for continuing to say so.
Now,
You also acknowledged in the report, you say the ANC in eThekwini continues to play a significant role in the body politics of our movement, in particular here in KwaZulu-Natal. I ukuthi ngiyaziphakamisa njenge eThekwini region, ukuthi niziphakamisa kuzo zonke ezinye region, but you are acknowledging that because you are the biggest region, you do play a significant role, and you play it ngokuzithoba. Angithi niyazithoba, anizibeki phezulu kakhulu, angithi kunjalo. Kodwa you acknowledge ukuthi you play an important role. So therefore, what this means is that here on your shoulders rests a big responsibility as the most populous region in the province. You have a responsibility. You also have to manage the complexities of the position that the ANC plays and occupies in this region as well as in the province. In the end, this means that you have a responsibility to ensure there is stability in the region, there is unity in the region. One of you stood up and said, the unity of the ANC in eThekwini is sacrosanct, meaning that unity has to be your primary priority and your primary objective. And I agree with that. But I can also say that today I saw unity. I saw unity at play. There may well be, areas where you may differ here and there. But namhlanje, you showed me that you are united. And thank you for that. And the Secretary correctly said, and this is your report, it says our REC, since its election in April in 2022, has remained unwavering in its commitment to unity and stability within the region. And I want to commend the REC for continuing to lead the region through insisting on unity and also ensuring that there is stability. When there is disunity, comrades, the ANC and our people more broadly will never be united. So I want to encourage you to continue leading this region through unity, because when you do so as an important region in the province, you are going to enhance unity throughout the province as well. And you say in your report, which I commend you for, that you are guided by the principles and rules of the ANC, because those rules are the lifeblood of the operations and the activities that take place in this province. But you also say, all this is not without its challenges. Your work as the ANC is not without its challenges, because there are many challenges, both external as well as some internal challenges that face the ANC, that threaten the ANC. But you also say that you are strong enough to be able to meet those challenges. And in doing all this, you also identify your responsibilities as eThekwini region. The responsibility of implementing the REC's program of action, which is derived from REC meetings, attending to organizational matters and political programs, maintaining a cohesive state of organization and holding regular REC and RWC meetings, executing decisions and directives, from the NEC, from the PEC, from the REC, and from the regional conference, as well as from the RGC. Because we are a democratic organization, and because there is democratic centralism, I really appreciate your reiteration of these important values and principles, because we are an organization that is governed by rules, that is governed by processes, but that is also governed by traditions. Overseeing ongoing ANC activities within the region is one of your key responsibilities, and providing transparent and accountable reports for each REC meeting. These are the responsibilities that your report sets out. Comrades, I say this because this is one of the best reports I have seen at a regional level. So I really applaud you, and I applaud the regional leadership to say that this is really good, because it really characterizes the work that you have to do. It sets out your responsibilities, and it shows Guti, ANC la Axi Stock Fair, it's a real organization. Axi Stock Fair. We are governed by rules and all that, and so I really appreciate that. And I appreciate that you embark on political programs, that the ANC is alive. You have political education, and I do want political education to be the core pillar of what we do here. But listening to you, the inputs that I've heard, without patronizing you, I've really had real good political inputs. The political consciousness is at a high level, meaning that there is political education, and let us deepen it and broaden in political education. And with Comrade David Makura now driving our political education program, it means that here you can deepen it and broaden it even more. Through your political forums, Monday's political forums, your induction of structures, zones and branches, and your regular political education programs. This is really good. Your branch verification processes, that too is good. And you look at the state of your branches. Now this for me was really good to listen to. That you've got 86 branches that are in good standing, with 28,000 members, and 4,700 that are 4,771 that are going through probation. That for me is good, and that eThekwini having 111 branches and 109 branches in good standing, not 86, 109 in good standing. Wow. And your zones have elected your structures, and you all now have RETs and BETs. And you've got a very good dispute resolution process. Now, and you set out wonderful programs that you've got. Now, iyaphila i-ANC la, ngiyayibona impela. Akusimgunyathi la, iyaphila impela. So, it's actually very pleasing, comrades, very pleasing to be in a region where the ANC is really alive, and then you go forward. Your liveliness does not only reside in just ANC structures. You also then look at the work that you do in relation to government, local government. That is very good as far as I'm concerned. But we also identify the key challenges at local government. And without sugarcoating anything, you do say one of our key challenges is service delivery, particularly regarding infrastructure repair and disaster response. And these are issues that a number of you spoke about, those are the key problems that we face here in relation to government. And also reflected on the disaster floods, the challenges that you went through during the disaster that we went through. But you also talk about a surge in crime, that acts of criminality are at a high level, including murder, drug-related offenses and theft, and it is widely known that a high rate of crime can discourage potential investors, further deterring the region's economic development. To address this escalating crime rate, the municipality has taken proactive measures by boosting its law enforcement process by recruiting more than 400 Metro Police officers. And this is now being done by a number of metros around the country. But I would say you need to do more. You need more than 400 Metro Police officers. You need 1,000 so that here it can be done. Now, comrades, we are not the only, if you like, place to experience spate of criminality. Just a few days ago, I was talking to some people who have been traveling around the world, and they say many other countries are experiencing that. We remember that New York City used to have high rates of crime. And then they started taking steps. One of those steps that they took was visibility of police on the ground. In London, they went through the same problem, and it was a Bobby on the beat. When there is visibility of those who are fighting crime, the levels of crime go down. And of course, in our case, we also need economic growth. Now, we've been going through processes with ministers, the Deputy President and myself. We've seen all our ministers, and we say we want you to focus on the key priorities for the last leg of this administration's life, because next year this 6th administration comes to an end, and we're now identifying the key priorities. And when it came to criminality, we said we want Minister of Police, and one of you referred to issues of criminality, and we said, Minister of Police, we want a clear crime prevention strategy. We need to have that. And we now need more than ever to have visibility of the police, which is what eThekwini is doing now. But I say you need to add more so that our people must see that the police, the government is serious about fighting criminality. Yes, the police themselves are setting up a number of units to even fight those syndicates that hijack building sites, those syndicates that are involved in illegal mining and many other criminal activities. So, eThekwini municipality, the right step by saying, yes, we want to increase Metro Police officers. I want to see more, because we need to have quick wins. Our people need to see that indeed they can live in an environment where they are safe, where indeed they can feel safe as well. But you also, as an REC, you've been made aware of reports suggesting that certain senior managers employed by the city may lack the requisite academic qualifications. And these are people who do work but may not have the qualifications. And all of us agree, and in the movement we have now said, we want people who are deployed to be people who are qualified, to be people who know the work. Akunethi lutho ukuthi sifake nje abantu abayiphukuphuku nje bangawazi umsebenzi. Yabona fana nalento yokuthi we want to go and win the World Cup. Funa ukuyowina i-World Cup. Sifuna abantu who are going to make sure that South Africa wins the World Cup. Kodwa uyothatha umuntu onjengani nje. Ongakwazi ukudlala ibhola. Umfake ethini. That shows a lack of seriousness. So if we really want service delivery, and lapho comrades asinoji, we've got to have competent people who will do the work. Because if we have people who can't do the work, where they can excel, or in other positions which are critical, so, and it is for this reason that even at national government level, we are saying we need to professionalize the public service. The public service must now be professionalized. That decision was taken by the conference, the 55th conference. We also are saying we need an audit, but a skills audit. Having identified it is possible that there are people who are not really qualified to do the work, and you have recognized it yourself here, that there should be audits that will be made. Yes, you've identified you've got aging infrastructure that needs to be attended to. Now we are embarking on a rather big infrastructure build. Comrade KZN, who is the Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, is having to deal with a number of infrastructure projects. And some of them are catalytic infrastructure projects. Because as I've often said, infrastructure is really the flywheel that drives the economy of a country. And in this case, we will also be doing so. Of course, it requires money, and it requires skilled people, and it requires new ways of mobilizing money. And so we are embarking on that, and Comrade KZN is very capable, and we will be moving forward. I'm glad that you have identified as eThekwini a number of catalytic projects yourselves, projects that are going to, yes, collectively representing an anticipated investment of 218 billion with a potential of creating. Here you say 200,000 jobs. I think you can actually do many more jobs than just the 200,000, because at that level we are creating one job for 1 million, and I think you can create more jobs for the money that will be invested here. So that should be done. I'm glad with your focus on stakeholder relations in a big way to make sure that stakeholders, non-governmental organizations, business organizations, and unions are actually brought on board as you look at how we are going to develop eThekwini. You want the state of the alliance to be strong. Couldn't agree more with you, because it is when the alliance is strong that we are able to have a strong government. It is when the ANC that leads in government is able to be much stronger. So I appreciate your report, even the identification of the actual projects that need to be embarked upon. And in my view, as a leadership of the ANC in the region, you are demonstrating your keenness to deal with the real issues that affect the lives of our people. I just want to touch on some of the issues that were raised in comment, as you were commenting on some of the processes. One of you said, said, we will really only be able to win the elections effectively if we focus on service delivery. And comrades, the next election, much as it is a provincial and national election, is really going to be about service delivery at the local level. That is where we've got to focus our attention on. Our people want their lives to be improved. They are not looking at the very big issues about that and that. They want to make sure that their lives are improved. And what affects their lives is things like electricity. It's things like water. It's things like the roads, the potholes where they live. And on electricity, a number of you said, President, it was a wise decision to appoint a Minister of Electricity. In the beginning, there were doubts. A number of people, even in the organization, in the movement, had their doubts. But comrades, more and more, day by day, many people are beginning to realize that that was an inspired decision. Because we now have a minister who is looking at electricity generation in an introspective manner, who is looking much as, yes, we keep seesawing between stage 5 and 6, and some people fearing that we might even have a complete blackout, which the minister has said, no, we're not going to get there, because we are managing the grid properly. And as we all have said before, our challenges and problems with electricity did not start last year, did not start a week ago. They go back a few decades when, yes, wrong decisions, wrong paths were taken, and then state capture came in. But at the same time, we now know what the real problem is, and we are addressing it. We know that we've got a gap of 6,000 megawatts that we've got to bring to bear to the grid. We also know that we've got to improve the transmission. So Minister Ramaphosa, day in and day out, and what I really wanted was someone who would work on electricity day and night, eat electricity, sleep electricity, breathe electricity, green electricity, and all that, just electricity, which is what he is doing right now. And we are more than a kuluma. Breakfast electricity. So all the time he's focused on electricity. And I do believe that the work that he's doing will take us out of the load shedding we're going through. But in the end, we've got to applaud him as he does his work, and when he succeeds, we'll applaud him even more. So comrades, I do believe that we will get on top of this problem. I do believe that if we focus on service delivery, we should be able to demonstrate to our people that, yes, we can change their lives. But we must also have, as Comrade Mkhize said, we must have a winning mentality. We should not be going to these elections in 2024 saying, no, we must go to those elections with a very clear intention that we are going to win. Abanye, they now feeling good, oh, my coalition. Nina, I'm going into these elections campaigning for victory, outright victory. Yes, one of the comrades, Comrade Mkhize, said, posts that are funded must be appointed. This is another disease that we've got in government. Many posts remain unoccupied, unfilled, and too many people continue acting in their positions forever and ever. And I'm saying, and I've said to the ministers, fill your positions in the next 6 months. I want positions to be filled. So even at the provincial level, even at the local government level, when posts are funded, and Comrade Mkhize puts it so well, when posts are funded, they must be filled. Because there is no reason why a post is not filled. Because by not filling a post, basically, you are weakening rather the capability of government to do its work. So that we should do. Comrade Shutele, small business does not get opportunities, and he also spoke about service delivery. And on small business, we're just having a very deep discussion with the Minister of Small Business Development. And she's working on a very clear program that is going to give a number of small business operators great opportunities. But we also spoke about creating an environment for small business to operate, Namako Ops, and creating an environment like creating markets. Because many of them, it's either they are in a little corner in a street and they are always pushed out, or they don't have a place to operate. And we said one of the best ways of just generating more and more business activity by small people is to create markets. Create big markets so that they can go, because if you create a big market and you don't need some of these big shopping centers, you just need to create a market where our people can go and buy. And we need also to fund them, we also need to provide training, and we also must make sure that the procurement bill that is now going through its own paces must be passed so that it can properly empower people. But more importantly, what I announced a few years ago, that 40% of what government buys must be procured through women-owned businesses. Oh mama, they must be the ones who will benefit more. So, and I agree with that. Oh mama, who spoke in the applause, she stood up and said, women are unemployed. And if we can get this 40% procurement process fully implemented in government, we will be able to open up new avenues, new opportunities for women to be able to do business and be able to set up their own businesses. And I've often spoken about this 18 to 35 years old bar. And I agree with you. If jobs must be created right across the board, who are probably will focus on those jobs. Comrade Butelezi said something really wonderful. He said the ANC must take the budget system seriously and make sure that the budgets that are crafted at local government level and national or provincial level, they must inform the issues on the ground. They must address the challenges and problems that our people are going through. And I couldn't agree more about that. Comrade Paramisa Kwala said crime must be taken seriously, and that's precisely what we want to be doing. Comrade Simpiwe then says, President, please speak to us about this US issue. Comrades, yes, you will have read in the press and all over that I sent a delegation to the United States. Comrades Sidney Mufamadi, Professor Sidney Mufamadi, who is my national security advisor, went with a delegation to the United States, largely because there were quite a number of issues that we needed to sit down and address with the United States. The United States is still one of our biggest trading partners. So they're a partner that you cannot just ignore. They're a partner that we've got to deal with seriously. They are the largest economy in the world, and we trade with them. We sell things to them, and they sell things to us. And they have also given Africa an opportunity in a trading opportunity they opened called AGOA. So we participate in AGOA. Our goods and products go into the United States without tariffs. So then they get to the United States much cheaper, and so we take up that opportunity that the people in the United States will buy our goods. And so they're an important trading partner, but they're also an important political actor in the world. So when a number of things had happened, we felt duty-bound to send people to the United States to go and clarify certain things. For instance, the United States wanted greater clarification on our stance in relation to the Ukraine or the Russia-Ukraine conflict. And we went there, and I had clarified it also to President Biden when I went on a visit last year to the White House. And I said, yes, we have had this relationship with Russia like we have with you as the United States. So we have relations with various countries in the world. And yes, we have decided on the Russia-Ukraine conflict that we will be non-aligned. We are going to insist on the resolution of that conflict through negotiation. And that was the initial position that we put out. And as resolution after resolution came in the United Nations, we, like many other countries on the continent, decided to abstain. We abstained. And one of the reasons also was that we want to be able to have the ability to talk to both sides and talk to them about what Nelson Mandela taught us. He taught us that any conflict is best resolved through negotiation. So we felt that that gave us leverage to be able to talk to both sides. And that is one of the things that we sought to go and explain. And we explained that one of the things that we did was also to put in our word, to talk to the various parties, so that the Baltic Sea could be opened and grain can then flow and be exported from both Ukraine and Russia, because both of them play a big role in grain production as well as in fertilizer production and gas and what have you. So one of the things that we also sent them there to go and explain is that there was a Russian ship that came into our country last year, and docked there, and there's been an allegation that this ship was carrying arms, carried arms out of South Africa. And of course, we've said, they say, well, they've got information about that. We said, well, we believe that if you have information, please submit it to us. We are setting up an inquiry process, which is going to be headed by a retired judge. We want the retired judge to look at it because, yes, it is a serious matter which we want to be looked into. And that was discussed in the delegation in the United States by our people, and they had very cordial discussions, very good discussions, because we wanted to show and demonstrate to them that we take these matters seriously, and we take our relationship with the United States very seriously as well. And we will be able to look into these matters. And we do this to also demonstrate that we are a sovereign country. We are an independent country, we are sovereign, and when we deal with other countries, we obviously will deal with them defending our own sovereignty and also respecting them. So that was fully explained, and the American ambassador based in South Africa was also in those meetings. Those meetings were cordial. We agreed on the processes that we are going to embark upon to address these matters. Now, surprise, surprise, the American ambassador comes to South Africa back and he accuses us. He accuses us, he launches an attack against us, which we found quite, distasteful, because at a diplomatic level, we don't do things like that. But in any event, our Minister of International Relations had a meeting with him yesterday, expressed South Africa's disappointment in him, and he then apologized. He said, I apologize in the meeting to Minister Pandor for the stance that he took. Now, in the course of time, I also called, not because of this, it was completely unrelated, because that was part of your question. I spoke to President Putin yesterday on the phone. On the phone on a completely unrelated matter. We do speak from time to time, just as I speak to other heads of state. And in my discussions with him, we were talking about the AU-Russia summit. We've held an AU-Russia summit on a number of occasions, and the last time when we went there, we were a number of African leaders who attended the summit. So there's another summit that's happening later this year in July. So we spoke about it. But we also spoke about what I've raised with President Putin over and over. I basically said to him, President Putin, this conflict needs to be resolved through negotiations. I've said exactly the same thing to President Zelensky of the Ukraine. Now, a group of African leaders have been working quietly on seeing how best Africa can put up an initiative to try and get the two parties to speak so that that conflict can be resolved. We will reveal the details in a few days of what those have been. After I spoke to him, President Putin issued a statement that yes, I had raised this matter with him to have a number of African leaders participating in this type of initiative. The reason we want to embark on this initiative is that Africa has also been suffering from this conflict. One, we import our fertilizers from that part of the world. Fertilizer prices have gone up almost by 70%. Our grain and the grain of many countries on the continent also comes from that part of the world. Oil prices have gone up, and we just see the cost of living having gone up. And in part it is because of that conflict. And we've now said that it is impacting on us also as Africa, and Africa now needs to see what initiative we can put up, and we will reveal the details in a few days, so that we can have this conflict resolved. So in talking to President Putin, he says, yes, he's open to chatting, and we're now going to speak to President Zelensky, and we will then see how best we're able to put together initiative that will be African-led, African-initiated, to take this whole process forward. And we do so, comrades, because our approach to this conflict is that this conflict should be resolved through peaceful means. So that is precisely what is driving us, and in any event, it is this approach is a very strong pillar in South Africa's foreign policy. So we will be pursuing precisely that. And of course, we also spoke to President Putin about BRICS. We also spoke about our relations in general, our trade relations, and so forth. So nothing undue about that, because we do have relations with many countries around the world. Our situation was a bit disturbed by what this American ambassador had to say. In the end, our relations with America is also a cooperative relationship. We by no means want to put any of the relations that we relate to in the enemy camp. So, comrades, that is in relation to the question that was asked by Comrade Simpiwe. He also asked about foreign traders. Yes, we've got people from other countries who live in our country. Some of them are legally in the country, some of them are illegal in our country, and some of them are traders, and some of them don't even have permits for trading. Now, these are things that need to be looked at through the local government processes, through trade and competition as well. So all this needs to happen. Comrade Shilam Hlanga says we need a women's desk at municipal level. I couldn't agree more. I think municipalities need to set up women's desks so that they are able to address the challenges that the women of our country face. I support that. Now, Comrade Arthur, and I will not go through all of them because we need to conclude. Comrade Arthur then says the roads in our country, and yes, there is a big challenge about our roads, because some roads fall under national, some roads fall under provincial, and some roads within our towns fall under local municipalities. And so we need to make sure, the most important thing that we need to make sure is that our roads should be well looked after. The potholes must be closed. And we are going to embark on a massive project as far as we possibly can. We may not be able to close all the potholes within the next 6 months or so, but through SANRA, through various other processes, we are going to attend to closing the potholes. So the Minister of Transport is focused on that, and they are going to be making headway in as far as that is concerned. Comrade Mtolisi speaks about, and this is for me the real concern, he speaks about 300 million rand that was not spent. Now, I say, and I want to reiterate it very clearly, where government departments, be they at national level, provincial level, at local level, when they don't spend money that is budgeted for, money that is available for whatever reason, that is a crime against our people. That is a crime. Because the money is allocated, ikona imali, kodwa ayisetshenziswa. And sometimes you ask yourself, why is the money not used? It's either not used ngoba abantu basafuna indlela yokuthi inyamalale le mali. We cannot accept that. We cannot accept that, and we therefore need to make sure that budgeted money does get spent, so that money does not return to the fiscus. I have said at national level, I no longer want to hear about money that has not been spent. If you don't spend money, you must know that you are in serious trouble. Comrade Thokozani speaks about the victims of the Phoenix massacre. I spoke to Ustalo, and there is an issue there. There is an issue that we need to attend to, so that there can be proper healing. And I want to urge the province to embark on a process so that we are able to have an intervention that will close those wounds that are there. There is a comrade who's sitting somewhere there, who's young. Oh, what the president, do something about young people, about the youth matter. Also, we are informed to president, we are not saying the issue of youth unemployment is a major problem for us. And it is for this reason, comrades, that we are seeking and continuing to open up avenues for young people. One of those that we have, which many young people may not even be aware of, we established the Presidential Employment Stimulus by SABC. And it succeeded in employing and giving job opportunities to almost 1 million people, and many of them are young people. We were able to bring them into schools, some participated in agriculture, and that has been wholly successful. One of the things we also did was to set up a platform through which young people can actually put their CVs, their capabilities. That platform now has 4 million young people participating on it. And I am told, Uguti, a number of those young people who have their CVs and their capabilities flighted on that platform are able to get jobs. Not all of them, no doubt, but a number of them, because employers, potential employers, have now become accustomed to going to that platform to look for the type of skills that they want. And I think it is important for us to focus on that. Comrade Bruno, who says that we should not be defeatists, we must also focus on strengthening the alliance. I couldn't agree more. And he actually says we must never forget to talk about our triple challenge: unemployment, poverty, as well as inequality. And that is something that we continue to talk about. Comrade Zandile says leaders must belong to branches. And she's concerned about those leaders who themselves are not rooted in branches. Bayazihambela nje bakhulume kodwa abanawo ama-branch. And that is why we say leaders must belong in branches and they must go to their branch meetings as well. We must not have leaders, the abahamba just emphakathini bangenawo ama-branch. So comrades, I want to conclude by saying I am truly impressed and grateful for this opportunity of being here with you. I will be coming back more, and tomorrow we'll do some more work, but I do want to come back here at eThekwini and spend quite a bit of time campaigning with you, standing door to door. Itheku is far more important, it's very important. I do want to go door to door, and Masenza is door to door. We must do it effectively. And I actually like your plan. As I listen to your plan, you want to have 20, did you say 20,000 or 200,000? You said 200,000 volunteers. You want to have many volunteers who will go out, and I want to be one of those. Yeah, you want to have 20,000 volunteers per branch. 2,000 or so. But anyway, whatever it is, all I want to say, I want to come back to walk the streets of our townships, to walk the pathways of our villages around eThekwini, and to make sure that we campaign for the most decisive victory for the ANC.
President Cyril Ramaphosa there in his capacity as the ANC President addressing the delegates of the biggest region in KwaZulu-Natal, and that is eThekwini, talking about the importance of eThekwini. Remember, it's been placed under Section 154 with some of the opposition parties calling for, it to be placed under administration. At the same time, he talks about the issues of service delivery and how important it will be to put the correct people, qualified people in positions to be able to deliver services to the people. Also talking about the electricity minister who's looking at this particular problem introspectively. What does that mean, given the fact that the electricity minister right now, we're still trying to understand what his exact powers are. We'll be in conversation with a political analyst about all of that, and also look at what is going on in KwaZulu-Natal as the NWC, the National Working Committee of the ANC, has visited that particular province. They are spread out across the province. So can this change their fortunes? You've seen what has been happening in the by-elections.